This live, even though you've been calling us both twats, he is a bigger twat. It's been fantastic. Hey guys, it's Matt Haycox here, and today I've got an interview that I'm really looking forward to. I've got a comedian, a social media star, and a content creator. We've got Daniel O'Reilly. You may know him as Dapper Laughs, and he's shot to stardom in the last decade with his quick wit and his edgy social content. But in 2014, Dan faced a public backlash after a joke went wrong. It ignited a media storm and resulted in the cancellation of his tour and his TV show. But he's back, he's rebuilt his reputation, he's selling out tours, and he's entertaining his millions of fans with his online content. He's got so much to offer us, talking about social, talking about audience building, talking about what it's like to be at the bottom and bring back up to the top again. So really looking forward to talking to him. And Dan, welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It's a very long intro. We're almost just finished now, right?
Well, that's because I've got so much to offer, mate. It takes ages, doesn't it?
Well, listen, that's what I had to say about you, but just to set the scene for everyone at home,
Yeah.
can you just kind of go back to the beginning? Where did your career start? And
I've been a stand-up comedian since I was very young, early teens, 14, 15. Loved entertainment. I suppose around 2013, I was part of the Vine movement, which was an app that people could create content on, 6 seconds of content. Blew up on there, transferred that onto Facebook, blew up. I think I was in the UK one of the first people as a content creator to hit 1 million likes on Facebook. And out of that, then made the transition into TV. Wrote and starred in my own TV show on ITV2, Dapper Laughs on the Pool. Which became infamous.
And so just to be clear on that, because we'll dig into it later on.
Yeah.
You built your brand and you built your fan base on social before getting the TV show.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So I think that it's very important for people that try and get into content creation and that want to create an online profile to be like Marmite. I think it's the best way, really. And I certainly was like Marmite. My comedy is very working class, I think some people would call it, and quite naughty and cheeky. And I built my brand off of that, and it divided audiences, and we built up quite big on social media. And then because my videos were getting 25, 30, 40 million views a video, the TV companies and the broadcasters and people were interested in that audience for their channels.
And for me, what's super important is what you talk about, being a content creator and being Marmite. And obviously, you're a comedian. You're dealing with, let's say, maybe a more consumer audience. But most of my audience who watch this, they're business people. They're entrepreneurs. And one of the things I'm very vocal about is that when you're creating your business content and your business marketing as well, that has to be Marmite. I always talk about it, not being vanilla or trying to be polarizing. And I think it's probably much more accepted and done, whether it's with comedians or reality stars or people in the media. But for me, businesses and business people are far too scared to go down that path. And it's just natural to them that we have to be all things to all people. We've got to be politically correct. And for me, it just ends up with businesses being vanilla and just a proliferation of crap content out there. I think for me, I'm in a space which to be blunt is boring. I love it. I'm in a finance space. Lending money to businesses in I guess in a marketplace where all my peers are probably grey haired bankers who you wouldn't want to share a beer with. And I guess I've always tried to very much fit my personality, into my brand and into the business. And it's love it or hate it. But for me, what I'm very kind of fixed about is if you don't like my content, if you don't like the brand you see, then you're not going to like me as an individual when you meet me, and you're not going to want to do business with me anyway. I think it's so important to be true to your values, and if that can be Marmite, if it can be polarizing, I think ultimately you're going to get a much better result.
I think in a more broader term, regardless of what industry you're in, whether it's comedy, whether you're a model, whether you're into fitness or whether you're into finance, whatever industry you're in, if you're creating content ultimately to promote your business, what you are doing is you're putting your content in a sea of shite that people out there have got to wade through to see what they like. And if you're not sticking out, then no one's going to see it. But also what I believe as well is if you're quite controversial with your content, it doesn't only draw attention to it, But like you say, if you're quite controversial yourself, or if you've got a wicked sense of humour, or you're a bit naughty or a bit cheeky, like you say, they're the type of people that you're going to sell to ultimately. They're the type of people that you want interested in your brand. And by pissing people off and annoying people on the internet, everything viral is powered by interaction. So whether someone's calling me a twat or they're saying they love me, either way, they're interacting.
So, tell me, just obviously going back when you were creating your content and building your social media platforms before, have you? I mean, did you have an end game in sight? You know, I mean, did you set out there, as an organised business person, to create an audience, to create a brand that was ultimately going to have an end game, or were you just not just, but were you a comedian trying to share your stuff, and it just happened to pick up momentum?
No, because I've tried many different ways of getting a bigger audience for my stuff. Originally, I worked on the cruise ship, so it was family friendly stuff. When I come back, I was doing the comedy clubs, and for me, going and entertaining 20 and 30 or 40 people at a time was fun, but I mean, it was depressing. I wanted massive audiences and stuff. So I always consciously thought about growing my audience. And when Vine and things like Instagram and basically early on, when these social media, like having a page on Facebook, when these things come along where there was a tally of how many people were following you, I got addicted to that number increasing. And what I also got addicted to is the fact that they were like-minded types of people that enjoyed my comedy. And then I realised that I was creating a brand that people were interested in. I really got to know the brand through the interaction with people on there, the type of people, what they were like. And then, I concentrated on growing that brand and seeing what other social medias that brand could branch out on.
How often have you found yourself actually, creating sketches or creating comedy off ideas and interaction that the audience have given you?
A lot. I mean, especially if I'm getting shit from people. I've had some quite funny interactions with trolls and where I've managed to create. I'll give you an example. A little while ago, a guy was being quite abusive on Facebook about my daughter. I just had my daughter, and he was being quite rude. I won't say what he was saying, but it was. And I thought, how can we turn this into a funny situation? It was Facebook, and Facebook, obviously, everyone's linked to their family on Facebook. So I went on Facebook, went through, and I found his mum on Facebook, and I sent her a friend request. I recorded all this for content. She accepted the friend request and then slid into her DMs. And I said, all right, how are you? She didn't know who I was through social media. She just thought, she was single. She just thought I was a lad on the internet. What the older women and that don't really understand. You shouldn't be talking to strangers online. But she started chatting. And we were going to arrange a date. And so I filmed all of that, and then I put it on my Facebook page, and I said, unless you stop being rude about my daughter, I'll shag your mum. So, there's always ways of turning a negative into a positive.
Did he stop being rude about your daughter, or did you have to shag his mum?
She's nice. No, it went viral, and then I took it down. That's the last thing you want is me as your stepdad.
So, talking about trolls, then, how do you find dealing with them? I mean, obviously, you're a comedian and you seem like a strong and tough character. And I think for me, one of the things that slowed me down starting any of my social media and any of my audience building. And I say this as I'd like to think I'm probably a confident, strong character myself. But I think when we're naturally put off by what people are going to say, what people's reactions are going to be. I mean, does that ever still get to you?
No, I mean, at first I was quite immature about the whole thing, and I blew up very quickly on social media in regards to the numbers. So I was hit with an overwhelming amount of love and hate, and I was very immature in the way I dealt with it. But over time, what I realised and what I advise other small businesses when they talk to me about growing their brands, or when I talk to other content creators, one thing that I say is, unless you've got a lot of people giving you shit on a daily basis, your content ain't getting enough reach. Yep. It ain't. So if your content is staying within your current fan base where you're just getting love, then you're not going anywhere new, right? You have to cross genres, you have to cross boundaries, you have to cross demographics, you have to cross classes, you have to cross everything. Your content has to go viral or big enough where it's going to come across someone's desk or on their phone that is completely out of your audience, that is going to call you a twat, and then it's getting out there. That's the best way to look at it. So you've got to look at the negativity as a positive thing.
So, and let's talk about negativity. Obviously, 2014, not a good year for you.
Nah.
I mean, obviously, without dwelling on what happened, you've made an inappropriate comment. It got a negative media backlash, and that kind of became the beginning of the end at the time we knew it. I mean, I guess talk us through the downfall. Obviously, not the event of the night, but the time after that, the downfall, and particularly your state of mind at that time.
I think, well, at the time, I thought my world was over, but what I didn't realise is I'd put many years of so much hard work into creating such a passionate online audience that, I had 3 million followers on Facebook, over 1 million people watching my Snapchat stories every day, and my Instagram and everything. But my mind was in TV. I'd got the TV show, and I was selling out tours, but I was on TV, something that everyone dreams of, what I was working towards. So when I lost it all, and when they petitioned and they threw me off TV, I felt like I'd lost everything. I was very upset. It was around the same sort of time that my old man had got diagnosed with cancer. So for me, it was a really difficult time that year, feeling like a failure. But beautifully, and the one thing that I'm blessed about is, I think because I spent so much time interacting with the people that followed me, and even while all that was going on, creating so much content, that after it all, they were still there. So TV to me, although it was embarrassing what happened to a certain extent, and it was a bit depressing, the whole time that I spent on TV in the grand scheme of my career is irrelevant now.
So that's made me think of a question while we're talking. What kind of numbers were you getting on TV at the time? What kind of reach were your shows?
I think my TV show on it was Thursday night at 10 o'clock on ITV2. I think it peaked at about 300,000 views. 330,000 views.
And for me, that's what's so interesting. And maybe, how old are you?
I'm 34 now.
So I'm 38, and I guess I still live in what I think the old media world. And so we talk about having a TV show, but when you look at the numbers of 300,000 people watching your TV show, or the multiple millions of people you've got on social media, and I guess for me it's quite a parallel in business where I think particularly business owners my age and above, we think unless our press releases, unless our audience is not hitting, paper newspapers or going in magazines, etc. For me, it's almost like a psychological. It's we're not getting enough reach, and I think people really don't appreciate the importance of the online channels, of the social media, of the YouTube, etc. And like I said, as catastrophic as that event was, yes, you were off the TV, but in the grand scheme of your fan base and of your viewing numbers, that show probably constituted 10% of your audience.
Even that, I mean, that was.
And there's obviously those 300,000 people aren't unique people. Probably 50% or more of those are going to follow you on your social media.
I think one thing that jumps out at me with that is, that's 350,000 views maybe a week. I think we cross a billion views a month now, over 1 billion views a month.
Billion views?
Yeah, across all my social media platforms with all the content going out. Yesterday I put a couple of videos out. My social media reach yesterday in regards to my stories and the numbers that are on the posts, together with the Facebook and everything like that, you get easily topping 1 million views yesterday and stuff like that. But to me, the thing is with TV is what comes with TV is the press. So you can build careers off TV, obviously, because you're in people's front rooms. But also, once you're on TV, you're at the mercy of the press, the online written press. And unfortunately, there is a lot of people out there still that read the certain clickbait articles that are designed for clicks, because obviously they sell advertising space on them. There's still a lot of people that only read the headlines of the articles as they're scrolling through Twitter. So it can say whatever it wants to say about you, and it can damage your reputation. But the beautiful thing about social media is when you're putting content out and you live in that realm of social media, I think a lot of people that follow you are very savvy, because they're on social media, with the crap that floats around on social media. Do you know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter if you're focusing on that sort of internet, social media savvy type of people. They don't get offended by a silly remark because they understand that there's no malice in what you're saying, because they've been following you.
Yeah.
But if you take one piece and throw it out there, sometimes in the paper it can be different. So I think social media is a safer place to work.
I was just talking about social media savvy, just making me think then about native content. So when you're creating the content to put out on your different social channels, are you putting the same stuff out there? Or are you doing like repurposed content for the different channels, or do you create something that's specifically for Snapchat, something that's specifically for a story?
I think the way that I work personally is
and sorry to interrupt. And if there's a way to kind of answer that question a bit, to help business owners who are out there, because again, I think newbies on social media, they'll create a piece of content, and I am a bit guilty of this. Certainly, was a lot more guilty of it before, and we don't understand the importance of whether it's if you're filming landscape for YouTube or profile for for an Instagram story. I don't think people understand how important it is to get that right native content on each channel.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a formula that works for me, that I think that you'd be able to translate into any industry. I actually used to use this. I owned a small chain of estate agents before I become Dapper Laughs in Clapham. I had oh god, this is not going to be great if I found out I was an estate agent back in the day. But I had a small chain of letting agents, just dealing purely with lettings, finding tenants, getting landlords on and managing their property and stuff like that. And I used to do this on a day-to-day basis when I was there. And then I use this for my comedy as well. Great way for you, if you're sat there in your office now, you've got a business, you don't know how to go about creating content, what you should be filming, what you shouldn't be filming. It is a beautiful way to do it. If you was to use Snapchat or Instagram on the story mode, so you're doing 15 seconds, you can hold it down up to a minute, but for your day-to-day life, if you just document your day, so in the morning you come in, you're like, right, this is what I'm doing, because there's people that are interested in your sector, right? This is what I'm doing, and from day to day you do like almost like a reality style show on yourself with the story mode, and then at the end of the day, once you filmed all that, that's content that's going out. You're giving information about your business. You're imagine that you're talking to potential customers, through your story mode. At the end of the day, you download that. You download your story mode, you go through it on a very simple editing piece of software on your computer. You go through, you cut out all your best bits that you think are the most vital bits that show a nice range of your day-to-day, what your business is offering. You turn that into a 1-minute video, and then you post that onto your Facebook, or you post it onto your Instagram page, or you post it onto your Twitter. But then the caption is very important. The caption always has to encourage interaction, right? So there's no point just putting on there a day in the life of an estate agent. What you want to do is you want to put a question. You want to encourage people to interact in the comments of that video. That's how it's going to spread beyond your current fan base. That's how it's going to go viral, and that's how people that are attached to the people that are commenting are going to see it. It's very easy. You don't have to think about what you're filming. You don't have to pre-plan it. You just film yourself all day, and then the genius comes in the editing.
And I think that was perfect strategy, fantastic. And I think what I would add to that as well, because I think there's the thing that stops most small business people starting to do this, when they've not done it before, is the nerves, if you like, of how are people going to react when they say people are going to think my story's boring, or my friends are going to laugh at me, or people are going to slag me off. And as I said earlier, these were some of the things that I guess put me off starting early. And these guys, Mark and Simon, they've been asking me for months and months and months before I actually started creating content, to actually start recording some videos, doing the selfie videos, etc. And the things that put me off, like you said, were, my mates are going to take the piss out of me, or is anyone going to be interested? And I had a couple of conversations with a couple of mentors of mine who were business people, but both big on social, and their attitude was, first of all, social media is for growing your business, not for thinking about your mates. So whether they're interested or whether not, who gives a fuck? And secondly, the people who talk crap about you, they're not your audience anyway. Don't worry about them. Just get out there and do it. And I kind of took that home and thought, all right, you know what, fine, I'll do it. And the next day, I recorded the first video, put it up there, 5 views, 10 views, whatever, not many, but no negative comments. no mates saying anything, and then the next day it becomes a bit easier and a bit easier.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, again, you're a performer, if you like, so it's probably very very easy for you. And I think what I'd be saying to the small business owner or the entrepreneur out there who's looking to build brand and looking to build social is you've almost just got to think of it like a muscle that you've got to keep using, and every day it gets a bit easier and a bit easier.
Yeah, I think a good piece of advice to people, especially like you keep mentioning small business owners, is to be honest, and you've got to remember that the people that watch me watch me for comedy, right? So I write my comedy and stuff like that, but the people that are going to be watching them are people that are either interested in what their business has to offer, or are doing a similar thing or want to do a similar thing. Now, what I would suggest is, if you feel nervous, if you don't feel comfortable filming yourself and doing stuff, say that. Say that to your audience. Start your content by saying, just so you're aware, I'm a little bit shy about this. I don't feel very comfortable. So if this is awkward throughout the day, I do apologise. But I'm here. I'm passionate about my business. This is what we're doing.
And that's what, and that will build that empathy. And ultimately, it will
relate to the viewer.
Yeah.
It will relate to the viewer. So I've done a lot of that with my mental health. I suffered terribly with anxiety after my dad passed away, and I went through all that. I suffered terribly with anxiety, which for me was crippling. Having to get up every day and film and create content and go out and do personal appearances and everything with anxiety, a real high level of depression as well. And at one point, real dark, got myself in real dark places.
This is around the 2014,
yeah, after my dad passed away. And the only way that I managed to get through that, talking about mental health, talking about suicidal thoughts and stuff like that, the only way that I got through that was by communicating that to my audience. And I said that on my I said that on my Snapchat and Instagram. I said, I'm struggling at the moment. I've got really bad anxiety. I'm suffering with depression. And I opened up a new audience of people that were going through mental health problems. But also, I think it created a more solid bond with my audience that I was being, because Instagram and Snapchat and social media is littered with people that are living a perfect life that people can't relate to. That's really frustrating. You like, but you anger like. You see someone on the beach with a cracking abs and you'll be like, twat.
I think people do that about my pictures.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's why I put on some weight, so I can relate to people, yeah.
So obviously we've talked a lot about social and how to create content and how to get it out there.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the positive outcome of it. You've got an upcoming show.
Yeah,
tell us about how you've sold that out using your channels.
I've been privileged. I think because I was quite business savvy, I owned a number of my own businesses before I became Dapper Laughs. Before I had a big social media platform, I sold my estate agency. So I understood the value of creating a customer base, a strong customer base, and marketing. So I've grown many businesses through my social media. One of my main businesses in my social media is live events, live performances, stand up. I do a variety of things. I do stand-up shows, but I haven't in quite a long time. This was a new one for me. But before that, I was throwing club nights, huge club nights, 1,000-2,000 people, called naughty sessions, so big parties. And it was all about utilising the people that were watching me on social media and encouraging them to come to the events. Now, my stand-up comedy was a real difficult one because for the last 2 years, me and my agent have been trying to contact and go through the normal way of doing it. And the normal way of doing it is you find a promoter that will say for instance, all my ticket sales are 100 grand. That's what the whole ticket sales would be, 100 grand. A promoter will come in and say, look, we'll take the risk and we'll buy, essentially, we'll give you 50 grand and we'll take the risk. And if we can all sell the rest of the tickets, then we'll make some profit. And what they do is they go out and they find the venues and you do it like that. And they do the conventional way of advertising, TV, radio, print, and some social media. But no one wanted to work with me because of what happened. And it took me a long time to get my courage back after my dad died to get back into stand-up and get live on stage. And I was getting knocked back that one day. And I was talking about this on my social media to my followers. And I decided, right, that's it. I'm just going to fork my own money out because you have to put the money down for the venue. I'm going to write my own show. I'm going to brand it myself. I'm going to market it myself. And I'm going to try and put it out and give it to my followers on Instagram. And we sold out the Troxy, which is...
Wait, how many tickets is that?
2,075 tickets in
And
about 8 hours.
8 hours? Wow.
Yeah. Well, we sold out the bulk of it in about 8 hours, yeah. About 8 hours, so...
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, and I guess it just goes to show the importance of growing that audience, through whatever medium it is. Whether it's social, whether it's offline. If you've got an audience, if you've got a true base of fans, how powerful that is to monetize.
Yeah, people have got to be not only interested in your brand, but they've got to be interested in your journey. I think that's the most important thing, especially if you're a small business and it's growing. That's a great time for people to tune in.
And I guess that ties in with obviously talking about your advice to document your daily stories as small business owner and cut it into 1 minute clips.
Yeah, I mean you can
that reality, that documentation.
You can fake that to a certain extent. I mean, if you're wanting to tell your followers that you've got a new product launching or a new service, you can weave that into what your daily routine is. Do you know what I mean?
Perfect. Well, listen, before we wrap up, I want 3 top tips from you. And we're going to do 3 top tips for how a small business owner should manage their own social media.
Okay. All right. 1, you've got to be active every day. So regardless of what the platform is, where you're posting or how you're posting, you've got to be active every day. If you haven't got anything to talk about, make something up. Yeah?
Yep.
2, you've got to be passionate about what you're talking about. You've got to be over passionate. You've got to be actually cheesy. Over passionate and cheesy, because when people are watching someone on the internet and on a screen, they're going to scroll, they're going to make a decision within the first couple of seconds whether they're going to stay with you. So you've got to act like a bit of a twat with it straight away. So people are like, oh, what's this about? What's going on? Because whether they like you or not, they'll watch. So you've got to be passionate about it. And I think 3, you've got to take risks. Take risks. Take risks. There's no point you talking about or posting about the same shit everyone else is, because who cares, man? Take risks.
So regular, passionate, and take risks.
Bosh.
And it's just given me one more. What you've said there's given me one more question, because obviously we've talked about going on different channels.
Yeah.
How important is platform choice?
Yeah.
How would you advise someone to pick a platform, and how important do you think it is to be on multiple platforms?
I think it's important that you're on every platform. But I think that the way that you should manage that is find the platform you're most comfortable with using initially, and then cross-pollinate. So for me, I start on Snapchat just because of the technicality of Snapchat, the way that it works, the selfie mode, holding it down, that works for me. You might want to set your camera up somewhere and do stuff like that. Find the platform that works best for you, and probably the platform that you find you get most interaction on, whether it's Twitter, it might depend on your industry. Find that platform, use that platform to create and post your content, and then send it everywhere else. And when you send it everywhere else, every platform you put it on, put references to where else they can find you on the other platforms. Grow them all at the same time.
Perfect. Well, listen, but it's been fantastic having you here. I've been, staggered myself at how much, I guess, immediately usable, important advice there is there that that can kind of cross over from media and from comedy into business, and how I've got some great ideas for monetizing that straight away, and hopefully the guys at home have got some stuff that they can get out there and execute straight away. So thanks a lot for coming. Thanks for watching this live, even though you've been calling us both twats. He is a bigger twat. He's been fantastic today.
See you later, you 6 that are on there.
Yeah.
Is it less?
Both
is
of
it
you.
less?
Thanks, Mum. Dan, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Cheers.